Partners in development and government are working together to ensure the country is on an even footing in development. Under the arrangement, the Japanese government, through Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, has spearheaded technical cooperation to Uganda. JICA is supporting several development programs.
JICA's mission is the inclusive and dynamic development. And based on the principle, we have selected 5 priority areas, which includes economic development, agricultural development, basic human needs, and reconstruction of the northern Uganda. And also the human resource development is the basis of the other the priority area.
For over 40 years, JICA is supporting technology initiatives and manpower development. Ugandans have received special experience after training and interacted with Japanese people to further their knowledge.
Okay. Mainly for the training we offer, government, people working in the government are qualified to attend this training. For example, people working in the ministry or in the government sector, like hospitals, schools, farmers association, yes, that kind of people.
After the training, the alumni have formed Uganda JICA Ex-Participants Association, Ujepa, to take stock and further their training experiences. The Director of Police in charge of Fire Prevention and Rescue Services, Assistant Inspector General of Police Joseph MUGISA, is one of the beneficiaries of the JICA support to human resource development programs. He presides over disaster rescue operations of police.
I benefited in 1996, to be precise from the month of July up to November. That's when I was selected to undergo a course in firefighting techniques and rescue in Kitakyushu city of Japan.
Was this training beneficial to him at his place of work?
I picked a number of concepts. I picked a number of procedures which they follow in Japan, because I had an opportunity to be attached to a fire station in Japan, one of the fire stations in Japan, for quite some time. So I emulated, I copied their procedures, standard operating procedures, some of which I came and integrated into our own system.
Katumba Malagala Erieza, a former principal at Bira Vocational Training Center and woodworks instructor, is another beneficiary to the training program in Japan over 20 years ago.
I went to Japan in April 1996 to study woodwork engineering and design in a program codenamed Group Instructors Training. I stayed there for 9 months, trained in industry. We had plenaries, we visited industries and traversed almost the whole of Japan.
For Katumba, the quality of work improved after the training.
I proposed to the Japanese expert with whom we were working and counterparts, which they ordered from Japan, and that is why Nakawa Vocational Training Institute managed to acquire those tools. Tools, machines.
Muwanga Fred is the acting principal Nakawa Vocational Training Institute since 2014. Formerly an instructor in sheet metal and pipe fitting at the same institute, Muwanga likely has had a series of scholarships to train in Japan.
The first time I went in Japan, it was 1997. When I went to train at Chiba Polytechnic Center for 6 months. I went back in 2007 on a program which was on enhancement of instructors for vocational education and training. Then I went back in 2009 as a master trainer for the managers.
Muwanga has been able to transform his workstation.
The first program was mainly upgrading my skills in the areas of sheet metal and plumbing, and by then Jica was starting a new program here at Nakawa. So I was the first beneficiary to go for upskilling, and when I came back, we opened a new course in sheet metal and plumbing.
Chiahurwa Patrick Natumanya is a technical manager instructor at Nakawa Vocational Training Institute since 1998. Chiahurwa is a beneficiary in the Jica-sponsored training in Japan.
First, I was trained in Japan in 1998 to 99, and there I was doing a course in machining, and that was at Chiba Polytechnic Center. Then I went back in 2008 for a course in country-focused training for managers and instructors, and that was in OVTA, Overseas Vocational Training Association.
Chiahurwa has been able to transform his workstation as a result of these training packages.
Yes, they have made me better in that I have the Japanese concepts which are international and latest, like 5S, which I apply and I use them to teach the managers who come to have their training from Nakawa.
Deborah ZAWEDDE is the principal at the Uganda National Association of the Deaf Vocational Training Center. For 10 years, ZAWEDDE has been able to transform persons with hearing impairments. She is one of the lucky Ugandans who was selected after reading about the training in the local newspaper.
The course that I applied for was a diploma in institutional management. And that package included human resource management, financial management, entrepreneurship in education. It included customer care, a number of things.
The Commissioner Secondary Education at Uganda's Ministry of Education and Sports, Baritazare Benson Kule, is another beneficiary to the Japanese technical human resource development.
Yeah, I was in Japan. Actually, we were in Hiroshima. I was in Japan, and we had 2 months, 2 months and a half. Part of the program, we went and had it in Cambodia. Yeah, we were in Japan, I think, for 3 weeks. Then we went to Cambodia for another period.
Commissioner Kule is a seasoned educationist who has served for over 27 years in the teaching and learning field. He is an alumni of the Jica sponsorship. Also serves as the National Coordinator, Secondary Science Education Teachers Program, SSEMUWEMBA, and accordingly, the training has enabled him carry out the necessary research and innovation to improve the performance of science in secondary schools.
The issue of research, the issue of analysis of field data was very, very key in the study. And indeed, we had very many areas that were looked at, because when you look at what we covered, we could see that it's very, very important to us, looking at the objectives of the study, trying to ensure that we conceptualize. We do what we call research by results.
The National Trainer of Mathematics to Secondary School Teachers at SSEMUWEMBA National Office, Caroline TALIBA, is also a beneficiary of Jica sponsorship skills training.
Thank you. I got this sponsorship in 2012, and I traveled to Japan for 1 month, and I was attending my training at Tokyo Gakugei University.
Caroline was able to improve her tactics of delivering the lessons to the teachers ever since she trained in Japan.
I look at that training as having been an eye-opener to me in terms of how a mathematics lesson should be conducted, how a teacher needs to prepare himself or herself before entering a mathematics class, and eventually how the teaching is going to be done. But thereafter, the reflection, how did it go as a part of the teaching? How did it go on the side of the learners? Was there any thinking?
EMMY SSEMUWEMBA is also a national trainer at SESEMAT, Minister of Education and Sports, Secondary Education Department, for over 11 years now. He undertook a 3-month training under the Jica sponsorship in 2009.
I got a chance to undergo a 1-month training in strengthening local education in Japan, in Sapporo particularly.
On the basic health needs, Jica is facilitating a number of government health centers with equipment and training personnel to ensure quality health care. Mulago National Referral Hospital Principal Administrator David NUWAMANYA is one of the beneficiaries of Jica skills training programs.
By the time I went for the training program, I was a hospital administrator at Masaka, which is a regional referral hospital. And after the training, because I gathered enough skills, I actually worked with Jica to transform Masaka Regional Referral Hospital. After my training, we were able to improve, and through Jica, we renovated the hospital, and we strengthened the systems at Masaka Hospital, which was working very well.
NABACWA Olive NORAH is a senior nursing officer at Mulago National Referral Hospital. She has been serving as a nurse since 1991. She is currently in charge of the maternal fetal medicine ward, managing patients with ailments, non-communicable diseases.
Office are managing one of the wards which handle pregnant women who have problems like who have diabetes, who have anemia, who have sickle cell disease.
She has had chance to be sponsored for the course in Japan under the Jica arrangement to improve healthcare delivery.
Training was really good, and we are exposed to many areas in Japan. We went to see how their health systems work, and I was also taken through different areas in management, communication, like managing someone.
In Mbale Regional Referral Hospital is Dr. Stephen OBBO, the hospital director. To him, Jica has done it all.
Jica has had a long relationship with this hospital for many years. They have, apart from training staff in terms of equipment, they have also helped us in what we call quality improvement. Things like 5S, another quality improvement measures. They have trained staff.
Dr. Bo appreciates specialized staff training by Jica to many of the hospital staff.
First of all, the training, I would say, looked at staff who actually work on the wards and started with the simple things. And we have found that simple breakdowns and things like misuse of equipment contributes a lot to shortening of its lifespan. They have been able to train users.
Mike Mutesasira is a nurse and medical equipment user trainer at Mbale Regional Referral Hospital. He has benefited from the 3-year Jica-sponsored training.
So I happen to be one of the 2 medical equipment user trainers that we are having in Mbale Regional Referral Hospital. And we are not only serving in Mbale Hospital, but also the catchment area, which is 14 districts.
Issues of water and environment are at the center of many development initiatives in Uganda. SYLVANO AFAI is a regional environment coordinator, North, at the Wetlands Management Department, Ministry of Water and Environment. He had the opportunity to train in Japan under the Jica sponsorship. SYLVANO has been able to improve on the quality of service delivery.
I left Uganda without any single knowledge. And when I got to Japan, I was introduced to GIS. As I talk now, I no longer look for specialists for GIS. I do my own mapping.
In the same department, GEOFREY GOKAKA is a wetlands officer working with the protection of Ramsar sites, who also got the opportunity to train in Japan in 2012.
When we were there, we were learning many things to do with the management of Ramsar sites, conservation, and even at the end of the training we had to come up with our plans of activities that when we return we would execute in line with the training. So I would say it is really learner-centered training and well packaged.
Gokaka has achieved more ever since he came back from the training.
I had the chance to have field work where we went to community, and in this case it was TAKAYAMA initiative. This is how the community came up with a program on how best they can use their wetland, but in a way that it continues to exist and continues to provide the goods and services that they obtain from the area.
Dr. MUTAMBI Joshua is Commissioner Processing and Marketing at Micro, Small and Medium Scale Enterprise at the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. He had a chance to carry out specialized training in Japan with support from Japan International Cooperation Agency.
But the first time I went to Japan under Jica International Training Program was in 1997, October, when I went to Chushu Jica International Training Center for a 5 months training program in oil hydraulics and mechatronics. So I came back in April 1998. That is way back when I had just joined the ministry. I joined the ministry in 1996. And at that time we studied many things of technological development, the drives for like the purpose of oil hydraulics and mechatronics, applicability of oil hydraulics.
Dr. Mutambi has been able to offer technical guidance to the Ministry of Trade in different capacities.
One was the first time I went to Japan. I came and we implemented the equipping the Industrial Research Institute. We started that institute. Now it is running. It is doing applied industrial research, and, developing products and setting up model processing facilities. So I worked there for 2 years. Then I went for masters.
In the agricultural sector, Jica is facilitating national and zonal agriculture research stations.
We have what we call rice promotion program, and within the program, Pride project, promotion of rice development project, is the biggest we have. We would like to promote rice because we think diversification of crop is important, and we have variety of rice. For example, there is lowland kind and upland rice kind.
For sector growth, Jica facilitated the training of staff to manage research systems.
Human resource development is one of the most important activities we have, because as a development agency, we are supporting the development of Uganda, and Ugandan people are the ones who have to take it up and continue. So that's one of the biggest reasons we send multiple individuals to Japan to train.
Annette Nakayima Margaret is a crop scientist who has had the opportunity to train in Japan.
The very first one I went for rice cultivation for African countries, that was in Egypt. The second training was rice cultivation research techniques, that was in Japan. The next one was quality breeder and foundation seed production, that was in the Philippines.
Nakayima has been able to train trainers of trainers and the community on the innovations on rice growing.
Yes, we handle farmers. Of course, our research is farmer driven, because the farmer is the end product. Post-harvest handling is a very important issue, because we know in all crops quality is a #1 issue.
Dr. ASEA GODFREY is the director at the National Crop Resources Research Institute, NACRI. He appreciates the contribution of Jica to the development of technology for crop research at the NARO Institute.
JICA is one of our longest serving partner, especially on rice activities, and we have had a long collaboration since 2004 when they first dispatched the first expert called Mr. Subui, with whom we worked a lot to introduce upland rice varieties in Uganda.
Were the course units to the expectations of the participants or the need to be improved?
I would go into details. Confined space rescue, for instance. These are very good techniques that I participated in and added on to what I knew.
Trainers, or we are trained as master trainers for the manager training. We completed the training and came back and started conducting the training programs for the managers.
I saw it as very excellent. I usually go back to my teachers and I thank them because you may see the things that are common, things that seem to be usual, but we are not putting them into practice. The course has been so beneficial.
Uganda needs such multi-skilled labor force to realize the development objectives depending on the criteria for selecting the beneficiaries. These are customized trainings, basically to suit Uganda's socio-economic structural development reforms.
Mainly focusing on increasing productivity, identification of the potentials around the communities, and the self-reliant,
These participants went to Japan, a geographic setting, culture and development status different from Uganda.
Language, you can do so much. Even when you're given their handbook, because we were given a handbook, it couldn't, yes, you could read through, but do very little about it. So you definitely wouldn't know what is happening. You wouldn't be able to overcome your issues because of the language barrier.
One of the challenges was the technology was a lot. So for us, we knew we moved from Uganda not knowing that you could maybe like use many machines to treat a patient, because for us we depend on our heads and the hands, but at least there the technology is quite long.
Over the years, beneficiaries to the JICA skills training programs have increased. These alumni formed Uganda JICA Ex-Participants Association, also known as Ujepa, an umbrella association to bring them together.
The alumni is a good idea. It's a good venture. Although being a crop scientist, when I go if it's for community work, I would feel more comfortable if I go for rice.
This enables us to go back to the community, offer tree planting. Those are some of the projects we undertake. Trees to schools, institutions. We inspire students, young blood, to know the value of reforestation. We have painted zebra crossings as a way of maintaining road safety.
JICA values such an association of Ugandans with the potential to improve the livelihoods of the disadvantaged.
Group which is formed together to disseminate what they learned in Japan and to have a better collaboration and exchange ideas between the participants who's had the same experience going to Japan in that sense. So by formulating this group, it's filled with people who knows about JICA, who knows about Japan.
JICA's cooperation to Uganda is focused on improving the environment to attain economic growth, raising incomes in rural areas, improving the living environment, health services, and water supply.
Cooperation in Uganda is growing year by year. We hope that we can strengthen our cooperation furthermore and have a good relationship with the Ugandan government and the Ugandan people. I also want to emphasize that training will remain as our key program. Japan values education, and we are very proud to have this program where we can learn from each other's experience.
For all these improvements to take place, there must be more specialized training to add value to the development agenda.